Hi everyone, welcome to the Psychology Decoded channel. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter responsible for learning and positive reinforcement. It's the chemical that says, "This feels good, I want more." On the other hand, serotonin works in the opposite way. It tells you, "This feels good, but I don't need any more." These two chemicals serve very different purposes. The issue is that if you can't distinguish between them, you may find yourself chasing rewards endlessly. A third important player in this system is cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol influences the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain located right behind your forehead, responsible for rational decision-making and self-control. If your prefrontal cortex is dysfunctional, it's difficult to think ahead, and you tend to focus only on immediate gratification. When the prefrontal cortex isn't working properly, it becomes harder to resist the allure of rewards, which accelerates dopamine release and leads to the destruction of neurons. The combination of dopamine and cortisol can ultimately result in addiction. While reward in itself is beneficial, reward combined with stress is harmful. And in today's world, where chronic stress is common, people are more vulnerable to addiction. On the serotonin side, chronic stress also plays a role by affecting serotonin's ability to bind to its receptor. Cortisol reduces the number of serotonin receptors, which can lead to depression. Therefore, addiction stems from too much dopamine, while depression arises from a shortage of serotonin, but both are influenced by chronic stress. There is one reward system in the brain, and it's crucial for survival. Without reward, there's no motivation to get out of bed or engage in life. Studies on animals have shown that when this reward system is shut down, the will to live disappears. Reward is essential for survival, but it's not the same as contentment. Reward is tied to pleasure, while contentment is linked to happiness. Our society often confuses these two concepts, which can lead to a misunderstanding of life's goals and how external influences manipulate us. Here are 7 important differences between pleasure and happiness. 1. Pleasure is short-term, like eating a meal, whereas happiness is long-term, like a fulfilling life. 2. Pleasure is physical, felt in the body, while happiness is more abstract, felt in the mind. 3. Pleasure involves taking, like gambling, whereas happiness comes from giving, such as volunteering. 4. Pleasure can be experienced alone, like eating cake, but happiness is often shared in groups, like celebrating a birthday. 5. Substances like drugs can induce pleasure, but happiness cannot be achieved through substances. 6. The pursuit of extreme pleasure can lead to addiction, but there's no such thing as being addicted to happiness. 7. Pleasure is driven by dopamine, while happiness is associated with serotonin. Why does this matter? Dopamine is an excitatory neurotransmitter, meaning it excites neurons. Neurons can handle being excited occasionally, but chronic overstimulation leads to neuronal damage or death. To protect themselves, neurons reduce the number of dopamine receptors, which means you need more dopamine to achieve the same level of pleasure. This phenomenon is known as tolerance. Over time, as neurons start to die, addiction can set in. Serotonin, on the other hand, is inhibitory. It doesn't excite neurons, so there's no need for the brain to downregulate serotonin receptors. There's no risk of overdosing on happiness. However, dopamine can interfere with serotonin, meaning that the more you chase pleasure, the less happy you may feel. If you can't differentiate between pleasure and happiness, you may be misled by marketing campaigns or societal messages that encourage you to pursue happiness through substances or behaviors. But in reality, this pursuit only leads to unhappiness, as it has for millions of people over the past few decades, thanks in part to the rise of public relations and the internet. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe to Psychology Decoded and click the notification bell for more insightful content. Thank you for watching.